tongue. You recognize the extra smooth, extra rich, and delicious flavor that makes Stroh's ice cream a champion. Now, let's turn to our film and watch the world champion Detroit Red Wings in action against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The Detroit Red Wings, for the 6th straight year champions of the National Hockey League, are determined to sustain this championship form as they meet the Toronto Maple Leafs' third-place finisher in the semifinal round of the 1954 playoffs. The best-of-7 series, the winner to qualify for the Stanley Cup Finals, opens at Detroit. Here's the opening face-off for the first game, March 23rd. The referee, Bill Chadwick. And Sid Smith of Toronto had the first good shot. Then Ron Stewart blasted a hot one at Terry Sawchuk. But Glenn Skov suffers the first penalty of the series after just 1 minute of play. The Leafs' power play worried Wing supporters. Eric Nestorenko was right at Sawchuk's goalmouth in this pass from Todd Sloan. The combination of Ted Kennedy and Sid Smith came very close to scoring. But it was Marty Pavlich who turned on the light, streaking in to drill a hard shot into the twine after 8 minutes and 21 seconds of play. Gord Howe just misses connections with a pass from Ted Lindsay seconds later. The Red Wing captain did score late in the period. On the next play, Ted combined with Marcel Pronovo, and they thought they had the puck over the line, but the referee thought differently. Tony Leswick fired a long screen shot at 6:01 in the middle period. And then Gordie Howe made it 4-0 at 17:39. Johnny Wilson almost scores. Ted Kennedy sets up Ron Stewart, but Terry Sawchuk makes the save. And now the Todd Sloan incident with the referee. It cost him $250 with a match misconduct. On this play in the third period, Eric Nestorenko was checked by Bob Goldham. Leo Boyven follows up, but Terry Sawchuk comes through with the save. And then Marty Pavlich scores again. He circles Fern Flaman, finishes the play by driving the puck past Harry Lumley. That made the score 5-0 for the Red Wings. Tight defensive play turned back Maple Leaf attempts to escape a shutout. Terry Sawchuk received great support, notably from Bob Goldham, who doesn't even let the loss of his hockey stick stop him from exceptionally fine defensive play. And the game ended 5-0 for the Red Wings. The third straight year, Terry Sawchuk started his team off in the playoffs with a shutout. The second game of the series was also played at Olympia in Detroit. Early in this game, Ted Lindsay dashes into the corner, and both Gord Howe and Red Kelly get shots before Leaf defenseman Hugh Bolton forces the face-off. At the opposite end, Ron Stewart misses. Then Gordie Howe is really checked by Harry Watson. Ted Kennedy gets in close. And then an angle shot by Sid Smith, which glances off Terry Sawchuk's chest, rolls over the line. The Leafs lead 1-0 in the first period. Terry Sawchuk was nicked over the eye in this scramble, but returned to action after treatment at the bench. In the second period of play, Terry juggles the puck as he makes a leaping catch of Ted Kennedy's deflected shot. Then Ted Lindsay misses a great chance. Marcel Pronovo blasts one from the blue line. Kennedy-Smith combination threatened again for the Leafs. And Gord Howe finally checks Ron Stewart along the boards to ease the pressure. Rookie Bill Dineen in his first playoff game is the victim of a beautiful Lumley save as the Red Wings strive for an equalizer. Bob Bailey and Gord Hannigan break away for the Leafs, and Hannigan finishes neatly, and the Maple Leafs lead 2-0 with 2 minutes in the second period. And Hannigan scored again in the third period, increasing the Leaf lead to 3-0. Kennedy and Tim Horton combine on this Toronto rush, while Boyven is serving a penalty. Then the Red Wing power play pays off. Marcel Pronovo, who is outside camera range, bounces a long shot past Harry Lumley, and the score reads Toronto 3, Detroit 1. Gord Howe and Ron Stewart scuffle along the boards, but the linesmen separate them before penalties are called. But this incident does call for a penalty. Hugh Bolton trips Dutch Ribel. Red Kelly makes a determined bid on the power play, which almost backfires when Leo Boyven breaks away. But Sawchuk makes a sensational save. Of course, the Wings keep trying to come from behind. Dutch Ribel and Ted Lindsay attack. Red Kelly comes very close. But the game ends with the Maple Leafs winning 3-1, and Harry Lumley receives congratulations from teammates and coach King Clancy. The series is not at a game apiece. The series moves to Maple Leaf Gardens, Toronto. And here's an interior view of the Toronto rink, the mammoth picture of the Queen, the regimental band that entertains. And after the opening face-off, Toronto defenseman Jim Morrison gets the first shot of the game. But only 25 seconds were played when Tony Leswick is handed the game's first penalty by referee Red Story. Detroit is wearing the dark uniforms. The Red Wings short-handed, but Marty Pavlich clears the length of the ice. Then when the Red Wing penalty had ended, the production line of Howe, Lindsay, and Delvecchio come close. Harry Watson is sandwiched at the Detroit defense, and Benny Woit is thumbed off for tripping. And again, the Toronto power play fails, and later at full strength, Red Kelly scores for Detroit at 10:09 to give the Red Wings an early lead. Gord Howe misses, and then it's George Armstrong of Toronto tying the score 1-1 with just 49 seconds to play in the first period. In the second period, Bill Dineen misses. Then Johnny Wilson is skated into the corner by Bob Bailey. And Sid Smith of Toronto is really checked by Marcel Pronovo of Detroit. And here's Gord Howe in a beautiful exhibition of stick handling. Eventually, 3 Maple Leaf players stop him by the boards. Eric Nestorenko meets Bob Goldham. Hugh Bolton rushes, but Terry Sawchuk blocks his backhander. And then Ron Stewart on the Leaf pressure play that finally winds up with Benny Woit and Glenn Scove dropping on top of the puck. Tony Leswick snapped the 1-1 deadlock by scoring at the 28-second mark of the third period, a quick shot after a corner faceoff. Bob Goldham comes very close. And then Harry Watson tries to even the score, but Ted Lindsay has him checked all the way. In a final gamble, the Maple Leafs pull goalkeeper Harry Lumley, but the strategy backfires. Marcel Pronovo intercepts a Toronto pass, skates over the blue line, lifts a 110-foot shot that rolls into the unprotected net. Here's Pronovo. The shot, the final score, Detroit 3, Toronto 1, and Detroit leads 2-1. The fourth game was likewise played at Toronto. Bill Dineen has the game's first good scoring opportunity. Benny White comes close. And then Todd Sloan traps his own rebound and gives Terry Sawchuk plenty of trouble. Gord Howe gets the double team treatment from Jim Morrison and Harry Watson in the corner. And neither team scores in the first period. Alex Del Vecchio circles the Leaf net, but doesn't score. And at the opposite end, Tim Horton does for the Maple Leafs. Carrying from a face-off deep in his own end, the puck caroms off Terry Sawchuk's arm behind him into the net. And now we see Glenn Skove being tripped by Rudy Miguet, and the Maple Leaf player gets a 2-minute sentence. On the first good chance on the next power play, Ted Lindsay is just inches wide. And seconds later, Mitro Presti's perfect setup pass results in a goal by Johnny Wilson. And that ties the game 1-1. Marcel Pronovo passes to Mitro Presti, but Harry Lumley makes a spectacular save. Ron Stewart holds Glenn Skove in the goal crease as Tony Leswick shoots, and watch Harry Lumley swing the hockey stick at Skove as he skates away. Then in the third period, the score still tied 1-1. Leo Boyven rushes, and the play winds up with Gord Hannigan and Bill Dineen trading high sticks. Gord Howe this time hits Harry Lumley on the chest. Alex Del Vecchio is dumped by Leo Boyven. And George Armstrong does a beautiful job of stick handling to carry the length of Maple Leaf Gardens. Then Marty Pavlich leaves the puck for Glenn Skove, whose shot hits just outside the net. Ted Kennedy is wide on this next shot. Then Terry Sawchuk has to dive to beat Ron Stewart on the rebound. But then comes the winning goal by Red Kelly, who fires, and the puck glances off Tim Horton's skate, and you'll see Horton, number 7, look down at his skate. The fluke goal put the Red Wings in front 2-1 with about 3 minutes to go. Gordie Howe almost gets one. And again, the Maple Leafs remove their goalkeeper in a final desperate effort to tie the score. George Armstrong of the Leafs has 2 good shots. Both were blocked before they got to Terry Sawchuk. And the game ends with Detroit the winner, 2-1. And now the Red Wings have a 3-1 lead in the series. The Wings hope to sew it up on home ice. Gord Howe scored at the 9-second mark. The fans hardly settled in their seats, and our camera's not even set up. Eric Nestorenko and Gord Hannigan for Toronto try to get even. They finally jam up in the goal mouth. Ted Kennedy and Todd Sloan continue the Leaf drive for an equalizer and force Terry Sawchuk to sprawl to smother. The Red Wings make it 2-0. Gord Howe takes a rebound from the board and fires it home. Johnny Wilson takes a pass from Pronovo, and his shot is right on the target. Then a general free-for-all breaks out behind the Detroit goal. 4 players receive penalties after they finally restored order on the ice. Now the teams are playing 4 aside. Todd Sloan on a screenshot turns on the red light, but Terry Sawchuk argues the puck bounced off the crossbar. His protest fails. The goal for Toronto counts. But 50 seconds later, Glenn Scove takes a pass from Marcel Pronovo and puts Detroit 2 goals ahead again. 3-1. Ted Lindsay teams up with Pronovo, and Ted this time thinks his shot was over the line, but the referee again says no. Ted Kennedy puts his team back into contention with this goal early in the second period. And the score, Detroit 3, Toronto 2. But Rudy Miguet of Toronto jams the puck home from a scramble to even it up 3-3. Ted Lindsay's rebound comes out to Alex Delvecchio. But Harry Lumley is not defeated this time. In the third period, Marty Pavlich streaks in again, but Hugh Bolton checks him and deflects his aim. Bob Goldham is tripped by Jim Morrison. But the penalty is not costly as the Red Wings' power play fails to break the 3-3 deadlock. Marcel Pronovo almost scores. Bob Bailey comes close for Toronto. He winds up scuffling with Terry Sawchuk in the goal mouth. Now watch Gordie Howe try a hand mashie on this play. It would not have counted even if the puck did go in. Alex Delvecchio cuts in from left wing, but Lumley again is on the job, and the game goes into sudden death overtime. Marcel Pronovo is hooked to the ice by Armstrong, no penalty called. Tony Leswick and Ted Kennedy battle in the corner, and little Tony gets in some pretty good blows. Just before the first overtime period ends, the game's still tied 3-3. Gord Howe gets a couple of good shots at Lumley, and here comes the winning goal of the night. Ted Lindsay doesn't get it past Lumley on his first shot, but when Marcel Pronovo gives him another try, Ted scores. 61 seconds played in the second overtime. The Red Wings win 4-3 and take the series 4-1. The Red Wings mighty happy over the win. Players and Coach Tommy Ivan show their enjoyment of it. Leaf players and their coach King Clancy are on the ice, offering congratulations to the victors, wishing them luck in the finals. King Clancy and Tommy Ivan. And Clancy congratulates wing goalkeeper Terry Sawchuk, probably the man most responsible for the Toronto setbacks.
We hope you enjoyed the first half of our 1954 Stanley Cup playoff films. The Montreal series will begin shortly. And while we're waiting for it, let me take just a minute to explain to you why everyone who tastes Stroh's ice cream likes its rich, delicious flavor. The reason is just as simple as this. Stroh's ice cream is made with extra generous portions of the finest, freshest, and purest ingredients obtainable. For example, Stroh's vanilla ice cream is made with a special blend of imported vanilla beans. In Stroh's chocolate ice cream, only the finest imported Dutch chocolate is used. For Stroh's strawberry ice cream, plump, juicy strawberries are selected and frozen when they're red ripe and bursting with flavor. And of course, all Stroh's ice cream flavors are made with extra rich, dairy-fresh cream. So you see, Stroh's ice cream is a wholesome and delicious food, as well as a wonderful treat. Try some soon. You'll notice at once the difference that fine ingredients make in ice cream. You'll like Stroh's ice cream. It's richer. Now let's see the final series of the 1954 Stanley Cup playoffs.
Now we present filmed highlights of the 1954 Stanley Cup Finals, the World Series of Hockey. Detroit Red Wings, winners over Toronto in the semifinals, cross sticks with their closest rivals in the regulation season, the Montreal Canadiens, who breezed through in 4 straight over Boston. The series opened at Olympia in Detroit on the night of April the 1st. The Rocket, Maurice Richard, gets the first good shot of the series. Midway in the period, Dickie Moore is detected hooking Marcel Pronovost behind the Detroit net and goes off with a penalty. The power play quickly results in a Detroit goal. Ted Lindsay deflects Dutch rival's shot, and the Wings lead 1-0. Time 13 minutes, 44 seconds. Late in the period, Lindsay is penalized, but he soon has company in the penalty box, Maurice Richard. And when the Rocket explodes in vigorous protest, referee Bill Chadwick adds a misconduct, and it takes teammate Tom Johnson to restrain Richard as he seeks to get at the referee. In the second period, Tom Johnson hauls down Tony Leswick and gets a penalty. Tony really slides along to make sure the referee sees it. The power play fails to increase the Wing margin, although Delvecchio, Deneen, and Ribel all have good shots. Red Kelly passes out to Ribel for his try. Boom Boom Jeffreyon ties the score while Glenn Scove is serving a penalty midway in the second period. Dickie Moore, number 12, can't resist the temptation to give Terry Sawchuk a parting taunt as the light blinks. Red Kelly is roughly treated behind the goal, and Lorne Davis gets a shot from Montreal. Now here's a good example of Sawchuk's crouching style as he peers through the player's legs to avoid being screened. Lorne Davis bangs into Benny White, and Sawchuk uses his big stick like a tennis racket to clear the puck. Dutch Ribel scores for the Wings. They're ahead 2-1. This was on a power play while Dollard Saint Laurent was serving a penalty. The time, 1:52 of the third period. Saint Laurent came out of the penalty box to take a pass from Olmsted. He has only the goalie to beat, but Terry makes a sensational save. Dickie Moore makes a real try for an evener on a close-range backhander. Red Kelly has a chance to sew it up, but Jacques Plante robs him. Kelly is in position again. This time he makes no mistake, lifting an angle shot over Plante's body into the net, making the final score of the first game, Detroit 3, Montreal 1. Game 2, also played at Olympia, was practically decided during 56 fatal seconds in the first period. Dickie Moore scored while the Wings were 2 men short. Gordie Howe and Tony Leswick both sitting out penalties. Terry Sawchuk protested. Bernie Jeffreyon interfered. 15 seconds later, Maurice Richard gulfed in. 31 seconds later, with the Wings still 1 man short, the Rocket scored again, completing a 3-goal spree within just 56 seconds. Captain Ted tries to get his team back into contention on a play with Red Kelly, but goalie Plante blocks his shot, and Dutch Ribel also fails on the rebound. In the second period, Marty Pavelich scoops a loose puck just wide of an open corner. He's hustled into the boards by Bud McPherson. The Montreal player is penalized by the referee. Alex Delvecchio was credited with an unassisted goal when Butch Bouchard cleared the puck into his own net during the power play. Trailing 3-1, the Wings try a comeback rally. Gordie Howe, Red Kelly, and Benny White all fire hard shots at Plante's goal. Tempers flare in a roughhouse, but no penalties are called. Bert Olmsted's shot dribbles through to Sawchuk, who covers with a dive. The Wings fail to clear successfully, and Floyd Curry drills a hard shot from the right wing. Leswick shoots. Marty Pavelich fires from the left boards. Glenn Scove is tripped by Butch Bouchard. No penalty is called. The end seems inevitable. Canadiens win 3-1. The series is deadlocked, 1 game apiece. The scene of action is now the Forum in Montreal. The Red Wings are in dark uniforms. Floyd Curry is denied a goal by Terry Sawchuk's fine save, and the Wings click on their first try. Alex Del Vecchio scores on a pass from Gordie Howe. Time elapsed only 42 seconds. Another Montreal defenseman, Tom Johnson, stages a thrilling rush. And Eddie Mazur makes Terry Sawchuk move smartly for his bullet drive from close range. The Rocket is penalized and shows his displeasure by whacking the ice with his stick. Ted Lindsay, Gordie Howe, and Alex Del Vecchio spearhead the Wing power play, but they fail to add to the 1-0 lead. With a few seconds remaining of his sentence, the Rocket tries to ease over the boards, but referee Chadwick forces him to sit down. When released, the fiery Rocket zooms up the ice and nearly scores. A pile-up at the Montreal goal, and then Ted Lindsay scores a second Red Wing goal with 3 minutes to go in the first period. Johnny Wilson makes it 3-0 early in the second period, right after a face-off at the Montreal blue line. Here's some rough and tumble action behind the Detroit net. And seconds later at the other end, Alex Del Vecchio circles the goal to pass out for Gordie Howe. Glenn Scove rams into goalie Jacques Plante. For Montreal, Ken Mosdell is wide of the target. Lorne Davis rides Ted Lindsay into the boards, but the Wing captain is still able to center out for Dutch rival. Third period action. Terry Sawchuk doesn't like to be crowded. He clips Tom Johnson. The Montreal player was guilty of elbowing, and both drew penalties. The Rocket on a speedy rush. Tom Johnson catches the Wings out of position during a power play. Scores for Canadiens. Bernie Geoffrion was serving a penalty. Johnson broke into the clear, and the score is now 3-1. Metro Prestice scored 40 seconds later, jamming the puck home after coming around from behind the cage. The Wings now lead 4-1. Gordie Howe, sizzling 30-footer, eluded Plante's grasp with 3.5 minutes to go. The Wings are ahead 5-1. Dollard Saint Laurent sped in to beat Sawchuk with 5 minutes to go. That made the final score of Game 3, Detroit 5, Montreal 2, giving the Wings the edge in the series again, 2-1. Game 4 was also played at the Forum in Montreal. Gordie Howe tries to give the Wings another quick lead. Saint Laurent carries right into the goal mouth, and in the scramble, Floyd Curry also has a good chance to score, but Sawchuk is on guard. Alex Del Vecchio is hooked by Bert Olmsted, and referee Red Story penalizes the Montreal player. The power play almost backfires as Ken Mosdell breaks away. Watch Sawchuk look around to see if the puck has reached the net. Best chance in the power play came when Red Kelly kicked the puck out to Jimmy Peters. Bernie Geoffrion is on the wrong wing for this try, and Canadiens learn wing defensemen can hand out checks. Benny White floors Geoffrion. Kelly takes care of Richard. Watch on the next shot by Johnny Wilson how goalie Plante muffs the disc, and as it dribbles past him into the goal, he looks at his glove as if it might have a hole. Wilson has given the Wings a 1-0 lead at the 2:09 mark of the second period. Another general outbreak, which doesn't seem to call for penalties from the referee. Dickie Moore tries to power in the puck in a goal-mouth scramble. Third period, Detroit still leading 1-0. After Johnny Wilson's shot, both Bill Dineen and Bob Golden dash in for the rebound. Alex Del Vecchio makes Plante hit the ice. Tom Johnson misses a great chance on Bert Olmsted's pass-out. Alex Del Vecchio is pulled down by Doug Harvey, but no penalty is called. On this play, Marty Pavelich misses by inches. His shot bounces off the goalpost. Dollard Saint Laurent tries splitting the defense. Sawchuk steps up to clear the loose puck. After a face-off, Mitro Presti gets a shot, and he digs the puck out of the corner to Johnny Wilson for another. In the final minute, Jacques Plante is taken off the ice. Montreal attacks with 6 men, leaving their goal unguarded. Jean Beliveau gets a great chance from right in front, and then Red Kelly lifts the puck from inside his own blue line. It rolls into the open net, turns on the light, and Detroit leads 2-0. It was scored with 7 seconds to play and sewed up the game. So the Wings congratulate Sawchuk on the shutout. Detroit now leads in the series 3-1. An overnight train ride, and the teams are back at Olympia, Detroit. Jerry McNeil, now the Montreal goalie. Ken Mosdell leads the Canadian attack early in the game. And Bert Olmsted also gets in a couple of good shots in this flurry. Ted Lindsay gets some rough treatment from Tom Johnson in the corner. Johnny Wilson's shot has Jerry McNeil lying across the goal mouth. Gordie Howe takes a pass from Ted Lindsay, drills a hard shot, and Jimmy Peters almost converts the rebound. On a power play, Harvey wraps his arms around Howe, and Richard upsets Peters. Dickie Moore and Marty Pavelich bang into each other at the boards, and a 3-ring battle breaks out. Watch little Tony Leswick take on giant Jean Beliveau. Then Red Kelly and Butch Bouchard square off. 4 players, Pavelich and Leswick of Detroit, Johnson and Beliveau of Montreal, all get penalties. Just as the period ends, Leswick is tripped by Doug Harvey, but there's no penalty this time. In the second period, Gordie Howe tests McNeil, playing his first game in 2 months. Doug Harvey slides into the boards, and watch Glenn Scove's goal that was disallowed. Referee Chadwick ruling he kicked it in. Did you notice how Scove was pushed and held by Dollard Saint Laurent, number 19? In the third period, Lorne Davis gets in close for a shot from the left side. Doug Harvey takes another tumble, upset by Mitro Presti. And watch now as Alex Del Vecchio is the victim of Tom Johnson's vicious slash. Alex crumbles to the ice, and his teammates surround him. Trainer Carl Mattson comes out to render treatment. Alex recovers quickly. He's soon back in action. Johnson was penalized, and on the power play, Gordie Howe gets a pass out, but he's too closely guarded to get a good shot. Bill Dineen takes a whack at the puck in a scramble. While Howe himself is serving a penalty, Montreal's twin bombers from right wing, Richard and Geoffrion, make things hot for the wing defense. Richard and Geoffrion team up again on a couple of threatening rushes. Marty Pavelich, killing off the penalty, gets a breakaway chance, but he's hauled down by Maurice Richard. At full strength again, the Wings attack, and Johnny Wilson comes close twice. Watch on Johnny's try from the goal mouth coming up. How the puck bounces to Big Butch Bouchard. He almost puts it in his own net. Bouchard's number is 3. In the overtime, here's that game-saving stop by Jerry McNeil on Gordie Howe's low drive. The series almost ended with that shot. And here's the play that prolonged the series. Kenny Mosdell backhands one past Terry Sawchuk, actually taking the shot with his back to the net. Montreal wins 1-0 after 5 minutes, 45 seconds of sudden death overtime. So it was back to the Forum at Montreal for Game 6. Detroit still leads in the series 3-2. Bernie Geoffrion gets his own rebound for a double try early in the game. Marcel Pronovost is tripped by Lauren Davis, and referee Red Story sends the Montreal player to the penalty box. Pronovost leads the power play. Gordie Howe fires a shot, and Alex Del Vecchio just misses the rebound. The Wings fail to cash in their man advantage. Bob Goldham dives to block Eddie Mazur's shot for Canadiens. In the second period, the game still a scoreless tie. Dollard Saint Laurent drills a hard one after a face-off. Boom Boom Geoffrion speeds into ring territory. His bullet drive from 45 feet out bulges the net. This was at 12:07 of the second period and started another quick 3-goal rally for Montreal. As Geoffrion scored, he was crashed to the ice, but he was soon okay. 1 minute later, Floyd Curry scored on a screen shot. Canadiens lead 2-0. And 78 seconds later, Curry scored again. Canadiens leading 3-0. The referee was flagging a delayed penalty to White as the goal went in. Montreal had scored 3 quick goals within 2 minutes and 18 seconds. On this play, Glenn Scove gets pushed around by goalie Jerry McNeil and Ed Mazur, but he still sets up Tony Leswick for a goal-mouth try. Elmer Locke, who sat out the early games of the series, just misses a return pass at the goal mouth. And on the return rush, Gordie Howe is sent tumbling by Dollard Saint Laurent. Here's an unusual goal. Red Kelly and Mitro Presti rush for the Red Wings. Presti takes the shot. Montreal players Tom Johnson and Gay Stewart back into the goal, upset their goalie, all three tumble. In the tangle, the puck is carried over the line. Presti was credited with an unassisted goal. The score now is Montreal 3, Detroit 1. The Rocket rushes, but Ed Mazur fans on his setup pass. Still in the fight, the Wings attack, but Glenn Scove's shot bounces off the post, and Tony Leswick's hits the side of the net. Seconds later, Maurice Richard settles matters by scoring to put Canadiens comfortably out in front, 4-1. That's the way the game ended, knotting up the series again, 3 games apiece, and calling for a 7th and deciding game. The final contest attracted a record crowd at Olympia Friday evening, April 16th, and it was a real thriller. Early in the game, Marcel Pronovost broke through, only to be denied his goal by Jerry McNeil's great save. Ted Lindsay's slap shot on this play just went wide. Boom Boom Geoffrion unleashes that blazing shot. Pronovost on another good scoring chance. Paul Masnick gets the puck over to Floyd Curry, whose screen shot passes several players, including Terry Sawchuk. Montreal leads 1-0 at 9:17 of the first period. Pronovost in the clear again, another great save by McNeil. Notice the referee leans into the net as the goalie arises, seeing if the puck has crossed the line. It didn't. Jimmy Peters inches wide. The Rocket is always dangerous. Dickie Moore passes to Elmer Locke, but Bob Goldham blocks and clears. Mitro Presti is tripped by Paul Masnick at the 22nd mark of the second period, and this proved to be a very costly penalty for the Canadiens. Red Kelly started and finished the play that resulted in the tying goal for Detroit. He shot an angled 25-footer from the left side into the far side of the net at 1:17. The game is all tied up, 1-1. Back at full strength, Canadiens seek to regain the lead, but Jean Beliveau couldn't reach Moore's setup pass. As they sustain the pressure, Ben White comes through with a daring dive to block Floyd Curry's shot. For the Wings, Wilson and Dineen team up on a real threat. The rookie Dineen just missed the rebound. Terry Sawchuk stretches to catch Richard's blazer. Going the other way in the third period, the Rocket threatens again. Gordie Howe drops on the puck to smother. Red Kelly's pass to Johnny Wilson is intercepted, ruining a promising play. Mitro Presti is in the corner with Tom Johnson, and he's not polite company. Former Red Wing Gay Stewart brings Sawchuk out of the net on this rush up left wing. And now watch Bob Golden block Floyd Curry's hot shot as the third period is nearly ended. Maurice Richard loses his stick, sweeps the puck into the net with gloved hand. Coach Irvin said if Richard had left it there for Ed Mazer, 23, who was trailing, he could have scored easily. Referee Chadwick quickly waved off the goal, and the game moved into sudden death overtime. Olmsted blasts one from the blue line. Del Vecchio dumps Dickie Moore. Then Alex drills a shot after taking a pass from Ted Lindsay. Gordie Howe passes out, but Canadiens clear. Gay Stewart almost won the cup for Montreal on this rush. Terry Sawchuk saving the day with his great diving save. And here comes the winning goal. Glenn Scove takes the puck over the blue line, shoots it around the boards to Tony Leswick, number 8. He shoots, he scores. At 4:29 of the overtime, the Wings win 2-1, and they have the cup. Teammates fairly mobbed little Tony, the little fellow who scored the year's biggest goal. Montreal players skate off sadly, without even extending the traditional handclasp of congratulations. Jubilant Detroit fans, excited to fever pitch by the tense, dramatic struggle, flood out onto the ice in mad confusion. The Stanley Cup, now the Red Wings for the 6th time. Miss Marge Norris, Red Wing president, her brother Bruce, and manager Jack Adams come out to receive the cup. Miss Norris congratulates Captain Ted Lindsay. National League President Clarence Campbell pleads for quiet so he can make his speech. Miss Norris stands beside him, ready to make her acceptance remarks. Bruce Norris makes the circuit of the masked Red Wing players with individual congratulations. Press photographers are having a field day. They line up the Wings behind the cup, and flash bulbs really pop. Jack Adams, Miss Norris, and President Campbell all pose. Miss Norris is the first woman to get her name on the Stanley Cup. Radio announcers interview players on the ice. Marcel Pronovost is at the French broadcast microphone. And some confident and enterprising youngsters sum up the happy scene at Olympia with this sign, the new world champion.
We hope you enjoyed the filmed highlights of the 1954 Stanley Cup playoffs. And we're sure that you'll also enjoy smooth, delicious Stroh's ice cream. Ask for Stroh's ice cream in your favorite flavor soon. You'll find it in his handy tray-pack pint, which is just the right size and shape for easy, convenient storage. And in this economical half-gallon package. You'll like Stroh's ice cream. It's richer.